Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Alina Islam, and I'm a Senior Research Associate here at Red Cloud Securities. I'm very pleased to introduce Heritage Mining to you today. The company is focused on advancing its flagship Drayton Black Lake project in Ontario. For the webinar today, we have with us Peter Schlew, CEO, President, and Director. Peter will provide an introduction to the company, including an overview of current activities underway and catalysts that may lie ahead. After the presentation, we'll take your questions live. Please send us your questions via the chat box and we'll get through as many as we can. Before we get started, I do need to mention the fine print. For Heritage Mining, there may be some forward-looking statements made on this call. I would direct listeners to the cautionary note on page 2 of the Heritage Mining corporate presentation located on the company's website. For Red Cloud Securities, I would highlight that this webinar is for information purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation to purchase or sell securities or a recommendation to buy or sell securities. We note that this call does not take into account the particular situation or needs of individual investors. Participants should rely on their own investigations and seek their own professional advice before investment. Please see our most recent research located on our website for Heritage Mining specific disclosures. With that, I'll hand it over to you, Peter. Please take it away.
Thanks, Elena. Thanks for having us back. So for those new to the story, I will go through at a bit of a faster pace through the slides. We got a significant updates to share with everyone. So thanks everybody for tuning in. So where are we? We're in northwestern Ontario, gold, silver, a bit of copper exploration story right next to Treasury Metals. Treasury Metals has done a fantastic job advancing their property, and we're adjacent to them and on trend. We're undervalued relative to our comparables, which is disclosed in our appendix. We're in a very mature greenstone belt, excellent access to infrastructure, which I'll comment on later. And basically our goal now is we're live on arrays, we're fully permitted. We have fantastic First Nation relations, and we're looking to drill off our 3 targets as well through our 3 advanced targets, which in and of themselves have deposit potential, and then also advance other targets as well because it's a fantastic property. Our 3 deposits are the Alcona, New Millennium, and Moretti, hosted in the Alcona main is 200 meters wide by a kilometer deformation corridor. New Millennium has at least 2. Moretti and Alcona also have drilling. We'll touch on that later. We have a team that has been here and done it before, and we're currently staffing up our summer program and really looking forward to advancing forward. We've also listed recently on the Frankfurt Exchange, tickers Y66. Very excited to expand into Europe and get some more traction there. We are considering a US listing as well. Right now, we have approximately $1 million. As of right now, it's about $900,000 in the bank, $915,000. Majority of that is hard dollars. So we're live on a raise now and looking to raise some flow. Still one of the best cash positions in our bracket in junior exploration gold in Ontario. Bit of an overview on our cap structure. So what we have is, it's very tightly held. We've had some selling pressure, but from since then we've really built a floor here at 10 cents. Seem to be trading around there, holding the floor really well. We're also live on a raise, so that's a testament to our current shareholder base. We have a firm belief in the property and what we have to offer going forward. Management directors and consultants 15%. 10-point fund, Spartan Asset Management has 14%. Couloir Capital is 3%. 10-point is based in Toronto. Couloir is based in Vancouver. They've been loyal shareholders since inception and the seed round, respectively. So very, looking forward to having them continue on with us as a solid shareholder base. Stillwater, we have the option agreement with our Drayton Black Lake project, or a portion of it. So we're happy to have them along the ride as well. Retail, we have some fantastic shareholders, high net worth in retail, Ewan Downey, to name a few. Also, Oren, the CFO of Treasury Metals, also has a piece. as well. So, we got a great shareholder base, and looking forward to bringing this ahead. Market cap's about 3.3 million. Our average 20-day share volumes actually changed, so I should update that. We're sitting about 100,000 shares a day after PDAC, so that's a fantastic. We're also seeing some more volume into our sector as well, although it's a little bit. It's about 100,000 or 90 on average, so we're holding our court there. And then also I've post financing, we'll go through in a minute. Cash balance is about $1 million. Our current terms on our financing, so we're raising up to 1.5 million. We're closing our first tranche next week. Very excited about that because, as I mentioned before, we have the majority of our cash balance is hard dollars, and we believe we want to use flow through. It's a great tax incentive for Canadian exploration projects, so we want to use that money to help further along and raise some flow through dollars and really advance the property. Terms are for hard dollar units or common share units, it's 9 cents, full warrant at 15 for 3 years. Flow through units are 10 cents, full warrant at 15 cents, expiring in 3 years. Broker fees we can talk about that after, but it's basically 8% and 8%. Fully diluted post shares issued and outstanding will be 48 million approximately, with the warrant count up to 73, which is fantastic built-in financing later on down the road at no cost to us, which is fantastic. The spread between flow through and hard dollars is 1.3 million. We're committing to on a max for flow through. 200,000 is hard dollars. The majority of the hard dollars actually gone and spoken for, which is very exciting. Not really the norm, especially with the aggressive and favorable pricing that we're having on this raise. Very, very good to have some low hard dollar supporters on there as well. Use of proceeds, as you can see, we're putting this all into the ground. This is to advance our 3 target areas, Alcona, New Millennium, and Moretti. A little bit of transaction costs to close off, and the G&A will most likely be allocated to US OTCQB listing with a blue sky exemption on top of that. Board and management team. So myself, I'm a chartered accountant and chartered financial analyst. Been working on Bay Street for the past 10 years. Started the company back in 2019. I've also held senior positions at Ion Energy, interim CFO and VP corporate development of Ion Energy. Saw it through to going public. Before that, I was with Step Gold, which is an advanced developer, through to production. So we do have some solid mining experience under the belt. Also a few CPCs that I've helped take along as well. Patrick Sullivan. Oh, and I'm also a licensed prospector in the province of Ontario. Not exactly my strong suit, but I can move claims around online, and that's about it. From Patrick Sullivan, fantastic corporate secretary, associate at Osler. Their team helped us tremendously and continues to through our various transactions here. He has notable experiences. He was the head, he represented Kinross on the Great Bear transaction, which was fantastic. So he's got some really big transactional experiences there. Patrick Moen and Jim Fairburn, both directors on the Trelawney sale to IM Gold. Fantastic story. Close to us, Ray Carvelis, mine builder, seasoned mine builder, was the CEO of DRA Global. He grew that from approximately 40 employees to 4,500. They went public on the ASX. Ray Carvelis is our seasoned mine builder, and we all consult and approve our projects that we are taking forward. And we think we really have something here at the Drayton Black Lake, our flagship, and this is the team that's going to get it done. Rick Horn, Steve Hughes, and Mitch Lavery are our current geological advisors. Again, we're still looking to staff up on a full-time basis our full-time crew that'll be committed to the Drayton Black Lake project. These are the individuals that are responsible for bringing it to where it is today and will continue to remain on. Rick Horn was in charge of the program last year that got us our fantastic channel samples that we have some wonderful graphics that I'll go through with you in a moment. Stephen Hughes was the head of above and underground exploration at the Grasberg mine in Indonesia for Freeport, the biggest copper mine in the world. So to have him work up a 3D model is truly unbelievable. I sat beside him at his home office, and we've gone through, and he's really taken me under his wing to gain a better understanding of that side of the business. Mitch Lavery's taken the Juby gold mine in Bell Creek into production. He discovered the North Zone at Bell Creek, and he was the wonderful gentleman that accompanied myself to our due diligence site visits for the Drayton Black Lake, as well as a few others, including Contact Bay. Fantastic to see his eyes light up on multiple times when his eyes light up on the site to see that reaction and saying, this in of itself justifies the deal. And here we are today, almost a year and a bit later, really taking a stab at this property. So it's fantastic to have Mitch and Stephen and Rick involved with us. This is we're in Elephant Country slide. So as you can see, we're adjacent to Treasury Metals. There's on the next slide, we zoom a bit more in with some bedrock geology, but we're right close to Treasury Metals, adjacent to, on trend. Oteco has a sizable package to the north of us as well. We've had friendly neighbors. With Oteco, we actually shared mob costs on a airborne EM and mag that we flew over last summer, and we got the report after the IPO. Other ones at Rainy River, Ray Carvelis is actually involved now consulting, and he did some work with Rainy River on leadership management and capital deployment and optimization. So really, it's nice to have some real experience along this trend on the Abrams-Minnetaki Greenstone Belt. We're also working on Contact Bay as well. That's our second asset. Main focus for this raise is the Drayton Black Lake, so we'll focus on that. And then this is where I would comment on the close proximity to infrastructure. So I don't know how to zoom in here. I'm not very familiar with this, so I apologize. But these orange lines here are highways, and what you have is you have a highway cutting right through the property here. So we're 20 minutes from Sioux Lookout. Sioux Lookout has a hospital, airport, Tim Hortons, and basically what the crews say is you go to Tim Hortons, you grab your coffee, and it's still hot when you get to the site. So our three targets. Alcona, there's drill targets that we have almost right near the road, so the access is fantastic, and proximity to infrastructure is great as well. There's a power line that runs through the property as well, significant power line, so access to power is very easy for us. There's CN Rail goes through and connects into Lookout as well, so very close to what you need in the foundation to build a mine if there is something there along the road. Which is what we look for, although this is an exploration project and we understand a lot needs to happen. That's it. Moving on. Zooming in on our regional play here, and we overlaid the bedrock geology and outlined the nearby property outline. So as you can see, we are on trend with Treasury. We have 4 priority areas that we will be focusing on. Our drill targets are in areas 1 and 2, so we will branch away from this slide and the numbering, and we'll go into our priority target areas. But this is our areas of focus when we look to develop additional targets. So we'll be looking at area 3, which is the shaft zone, and the Forester area, where I actually went and did some prospecting myself, accompanied with a guide, which is very exciting, fun to get your hands dirty, and in the middle of the bush as an accountant, that's a lot of fun. So I've got no problem doing both, but mine probably better set here. This is a catch-all slide. So we have a significant land package, 15,000 hectares, 176 holes, or approximately 20,000 meters drilled on the property. Average depth is about 100. In Alcona, it's about 75 vertical depth. Moretti is 100, which is what we're focusing on. We have a fantastic VG picture. I think there's we found a couple more on here, and that's sitting on my desk. So if anybody wants to come by, happy to walk them through that. And our program in 2022 on the tail end in the fall, we've confirmed economic grade gold, silver at surface across our 3 areas, and we're looking to drill that out. So we're very excited. We're in a fantastic area. Ontario is good to do business with mining. We recently got the Ontario Junior Exploration grant as well. So that $200,000 we're putting to work again. Mineralization styles is orogenic, low gold, VMS, and base metal. High-grade veins on a meter scale, as well as stockworks in multiple structures. So it's a fantastic place to be, and we're really looking to advance it. This is a slide, we're probably going to start taking this out and leave it as the appendix, but this is a great slide as an introductory to why we were here in the first place. We are here, we understand that it is an exploration property. The good thing is there is a ton of data available that has never been digitized and will until we showed up. We were the first company to consolidate this package. and we are the first ones to aggregate all the data and digitize it. So now we have a fantastic database that we continue to go back and pore over to develop targets. So there's over 100 years worth of data here, and there has some good names, there is good work, and the catch is all these other companies have had little tiny snippets of the property. Group 10 did a great job on partially consolidating. We brought it home and we have the whole package now. So this is a fantastic data set as a base. This was not done previously. This is why we're here. This is where we see the value. And now we have, our 3 advanced targets, which are working out very well. So this is just where we came from slide. This is where we branch away from our 4 areas. These are our 3 high priority target areas, which have economic grade gold or gold silver at surface. And that is the Alcona, New Millennium, and Moretti. I'll go into them a little bit, obviously, as we go along, being mindful of the time. So Alcona, we have a 200-meter wide by 1 kilometer deformation corridor. Basically, we've split it out into the north and south vein sets. New Millennium, and Alcona has been drilled to 75 meters vertical. So we're looking to put 2 fences on there and have some step out holes. So confirm some historical drilling, as well as take some step outs and see how, get a better understanding of the geology and the structure. New Millennium has never been drilled before. The windows into that area are narrow. There's only been trenches, but the results have been fantastic. So we look forward to doing some additional mapping and working that up. That'll probably be drilled at the tail end of our program because we need to do a bit more work, cut a road in, which I could speak to actually later. There's some good negotiations being discussed right now on help with the road with the First Nation groups. Moretti, so Moretti is in the top area here. This is a great area as well. And what we've done with this area is the thought is it has not been drilled deep enough. So what we've done, we originally had 2 fences, shallower holes, because the average depth is about 100 meters vertical. What we're doing now is we're doing a little less holes and about 250 meters of still fences and a few step outs. This has got a bulk sample, 8.5 tons. So it's right there in the slide, 8.5 tons at 14 grams with a confirmation hole underneath, 2 meters at 14 grams. So there's definitely something here. We think they missed the mineralization. We don't think it was drilled correctly and deep enough. They finished in the hanging wall is the theme of Moretti, and we're there to give it the attention that it deserves. As I mentioned before, we shared the friendly neighbor policy here with Oteco. Oteco and ourselves shared Airborne EM and MEG MOB costs. So they actually flew their package, which is about around here. This is showing, we have a consistent data set for Airborne EM and MAG. If we're going to wave the flag of systematic exploration, early on it was very important that we have a consistent, one data set for Airborne EM and MAG. So we have this, to develop additional targets with the historical data on top of it. So now what we do is we jump into the Alcona area, and these are our 2 high priority target areas. As you can see with the scale below, these could be standalone deposits that are far enough apart. What we've done here is we've highlighted our initial check samples. There was a ton of high grade historical hits around the area, but we wanted to check it ourselves and make sure that things are what they say they are from a due diligence standpoint. So to evaluate the targets, so we've done some check samples here, which came out great, and then this drove our channel sampling program as well. We've also peppered in some historical drill results. Now, although they're narrow, they've only selected. It was a selective sampling drill program from our interpretation. So there's only narrow samples, only the quartz veins went, and we're seeing multiple veins consisting in vein sets. And then we'll move on. So diving into Alcona Main, we've had some fantastic channel samples. There's a decent amount of outcrop and previous strippings. We've taken advantage of that and did a systematic channel sample program to complement our check samples as well. And we've got some fantastic hits, almost 5 grams over 4 meters, including, obviously a narrow high grade vein over 1 meter, 15 grams gold and 14 grams silver. And what it is just a vein set in a deformation corridor, 200 meters wide, open in both directions, and there's proven mineralization to 75 meters. Very attractive first target. This is the all-weather logging road leading all the way in. I mean, you're 50 meters from where you want to drill, and some of the targets that we're drilling, you can drill almost from the road. We're going to work on the presentation, so maybe in a few weeks we'll have what I've asked from the team is we're going to have a 3D spin on where the holes are going relative to historical work. So we're working on that, and that'll be exciting just to paint a picture on, what exactly we're doing with some veins stitched up. So very exciting. We're moving fast. Alcona, this is what we've modeled up from historical. So as you can see, 200 meters wide, about 75 meters deep, few holes across, selectively sampled, still bodes for, large tonnage, low grade, but there's also some narrow high grade hits as well that will probably bring it home. I think in the area, the theme is to increase and really make a discovery. You need some high grade shoots. I have a picture with my boot sitting on the 15 gram over a meter. I mean, that's what you need. And we have it at surface. It's not, we don't even need to go and, dig for it. So we have 3 areas at surface. Very exciting, almost a world-class exploration target. New Millennium again. So there's at least 2 deformation corridors here. We've actually had our highest grab sample ever on the property in its history, 2,330 grams. So a fantastic shout out to the team of last year who picked that up. That was great. I almost had a running joke, who dropped their ring in the bag. I've been assured that didn't happen. So it's a fantastic result, really good, a good grab sample for the area, and also some fantastic windows into our channel sample program. So we got to do some work here. We'll be working that up, doing some mapping, maybe some LiDAR, doing some drilling here on the tail end of our program. But this is a fantastic area for follow-up. Moretti, we'll be focusing on this is the Moretti Black Lake area. Where we're going to be focusing on is the northeastern portion with the most attractive drill holes in the bulk sample. This is part of a 6 kilometer potential strike length, but we're focusing on what we think is a reasonable chance of a 2 kilometer by 500 kilometer deformation corridor. It is possible that it goes, there's a ton of hits and a ton of mineralized occurrences throughout the property, but we're going to sit and focus on where we think is the best target given the information we have available. This is a nice picture of the rock I have on our desk. Ran in the area, ran up to 1,200 grams gold. It's fantastic. I think that one was about 208 approximately, or in that area. So this is our zooming into the Moretti area, 2.5 meter strike, 500 meters wide. We've had some fantastic channel samples here as well. 10 meters at 7.12 grams over 10 meters, which is a good result. Just a note to everybody, and we disclosed that in the press release as well. This is an offshoot vein, and we just ran along the vein. This is more of a meter scale vein set as well, and we're going to be looking to work this up more. And obviously, every single target that I've mentioned is going to need additional mapping. So the mapping goes from, May, June. Drilling's anticipated at some point in July. We're doing 1,200 meters per area approximately for 3,600 meters. We'll be picking a time to come back, and at the end of this year, we're going for 10,000 meters. So this is a phased approach justified by success-driven exploration strategy. This is a nice graphic, describing. We can't say that we have the same thing as Treasury, but what you're going to see is this is what you'll see, throughout the property, and we have depicted an excerpt from their technical work at Treasury Metals. So we can't say it is similar or it is the same thing, but it's pretty close. I'll skip over this. This is a deep dive into our option agreements and our earn-in schedule. So what we can see here, I just wanted to point out a few items. So we have a reasonable cash commitment over an earn-in period of 4 years. We have a reasonable share issuance. Most of that is Group 10. Group 10, now Stillwater. Happy to have them as a shareholder. They've been a fantastic group, consistently talking with the senior management team there as well. Fantastic group, and very happy that we did the deal with them. Project spend is reasonable given the size. I mean, to maintain these claims is about $280,000, $300,000 a year. So having a $500,000 million to spend over the next few years, if we're not advancing that, then we're not spending that money. So we wanted to keep ourselves accountable, locked in with the that we will take this project seriously and we will give it the love that it needs. We're also locked in on the contract, so Stillwater was happy to hand the keys over. Obviously, we got to work for it and give up some shares, but we're all happy that we're running the show here. 90% earn in on the Stillwater option. Now, the important point is there is a path to 100% here. We can get that at the end of or on the presentation of a feasibility study. They can either choose to have the joint venture for a 10%, and they got to cut checks with us, or they can hand us over the 10% in exchange for a royalty. The Reeves option, which is the new Millennium in Alcona, reasonable earn-in, reasonable cash payment, and we own it. It's significantly less, and it's the most attractive area. So both great options, and we've also done a 100% deal with a small piece on the geophysical anomaly. So we had a great package here, reasonable earn-in, thrown out over a decent period of time. This is a schedule on our plan, our exploration plan, provided we can raise the money and hit our targets. So for Drayton Black Lake, the Alcona, we're doing mapping in Q2, phase 1 drilling, phase 2 in Q4, totaling 10,000 meters. As I said before, by this time next year, our goal is to be partnered up and delineating a resource. On any one of these would be fantastic. If we got 2, I mean, that's any one of these is a company maker. If we can get 2 going, that would be a massive win for us. And then also along the way, generate new targets as well. So that's the presentation, 26 minutes. We have an hour. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Well, thanks a lot, Peter. That was a great presentation. So we'll now start the Q&A portion of the webinar. Just as a reminder for all of our participants, you can type your questions into the chat box at any time. So Peter, we do have a few questions. Maybe I'll start off by, aside from the geophysical program in 2022, was there any other field work that was conducted, or were all the targets generated based on historical information?
No, so we did geophysics. That was flown. We received the data after the IPO. On top of that, we did a check sampling program. So we did some check samples throughout the entire property, including shaft, Alcona, and Moretti. We did a channel sampling program after those check samples came back, where we found the grade. We went for channel samples. We did 4 channel sample areas. Moretti, this was our work. Moretti, Black Lake, New Millennium, and Alcona. Black Lake didn't bode well. I think there's some great historical till results there, so we need to revisit that. We'll be working that target up, but that one didn't work out. Moretti ran well. That was our work. Alcona ran well. That was our work. New Millennium ran well. That was our work. And then we worked out and complemented it with historical data, basically, drilling and other, indications to map out the structure and help with our drill program. So yes, some early exploration work, but we haven't done drilling, right?
So what's your budget for the year for drilling and other exploration work that you may have?
So right now, we're going to raise, this raise is for flow through. So our budget for that is 1.4 million. 1.1 is allocated to drilling, 300,000 is allocated to additional target work at this point. We do have the money. Ideally, we'd like to raise all that and then start the program. We do have a cash balance that we can dip into, a very strong cash balance if we need to. We're in Ontario, Canada. Flow through is a fantastic mechanism to explore and pass through the tax benefits. So I would prefer, from a corporate strategy, to utilize our good cash balance, or a fantastic cash balance relative to everybody else, so that we can advance and get an exponentially more through flow through. So we have the cash to go now. We can, and that's the plan. But we're filling that out with flow through and closing the first tranche next week.
Okay, so then would the plan be to drill first and then do additional exploration for targets, or would you do that concurrently?
Well, we're looking to staff out the team right now and get a full-time exploration manager and team. Right now, the emphasis is, especially on the people participating and most of the shareholders, is to drill first. But you got to leave it up to the technical team. Things change. Our plan right now is, we'll focus on drilling and then work up targets at the same time. I mean, it is shown in our presentation that we will be doing it at the same time. And, let's just to remind everybody, what I mentioned before, we're doing mapping before anything is being drilled. We need to understand this a little more before we go drilling. That was a recommendation from the technical team initially. We're going to follow that, and I'm sure more targets will come out of that, but we want to focus on our high priority areas because that's the best bang for our buck. And that was mentioned by the technical team, and we're going to lead on that.
Okay, all right. One question here, Peter. Can you explain how the database you compiled will help Heritage differentiate? I'm just reading off the question board here.
Sure. So very simply put, when we showed up, it was split out into multiple different fragmented databases. Some of it was incomplete, right? It was basic, we had a data set that was focused on claim expiry and maintaining the claims, which is fine. Some of the data was not included. So when you incorporate all the data together and then look at it in a systematic exploration, perspective, you start to map out, you overlay your geophysics, you overlay your chip samples, you overlay some channels, some old drilling, and you start to work up some real targets. And then you can get in, I'm talking outside of the high priority targets, you can get into some new targets and already have a good database. It's almost like an exploration program has already been done historically, when you layer on the different work and you can go in and advance it forward by honing in on certain areas. But that only happens when you have everything digitized, you have everything together, and you look at it and then you discuss it with the team, right?
Right. Okay. So last question here, Peter. Maybe could you summarize the upcoming catalysts in the next 6 to 12 months for any potential investors?
Yeah. So what we're looking at now, we're working with the First Nation groups to come up with a strategy to progress forward and have a mutually beneficial relationship. So we're looking to solidify that. We're also working, so that should be an upcoming catalyst. I think our early permit approval was a fantastic testament to our relationship building capabilities. You don't get early permit approval unless you have good relationships, in my opinion. So we're looking to forward that and really grow together. So the investors and the public can look forward to that, and our stakeholders. In the next 30 to 45 days, you can look forward to mobilizing. We'll be mobilizing our team, getting them up there. The full-time exploration manager will be doing some desktop studies, so that's very exciting. We'll have our mapping crew being done in May, drilling in July. So, and then that'll be split out on the 3 targets. And what we're going to do is once we raise the capital and start deploying it, we'll be attacking the targets in sequence. So we'll have news flow up until December. We'll be drilling these off, in sequence, not at the same time. So there'll be no guessing. There'll always be something coming out, and we're going to be rocking and rolling. Then we can always come back and do phase 2, and we'll pick our time to do that. Right? This is a larger program, 10,000 meters, and we're doing 3,600. That's why we came out. Let's not kid ourselves here. This is a 25-cent IPO, and we're at 10 cents. We understand that. I've had a long and lengthy chat with significant shareholders, and this is it. This is how you take the company to the next level. This money will do that, and we'll be advancing it. We're really looking forward to drilling these off in sequence.
Well, great. That's a lot to look forward to. Peter, thank you again for taking time to host this webinar with us today. Just as a reminder for our audience, our next webinar will feature Winsome Resources, and that's on Tuesday, April 11th at 9 a.m. Eastern. Thanks for tuning in with us, everyone. Have a great day.